Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including Tesla factory shutdowns, a new 10-minute charge battery, new features coming to all owners, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, over the last few weeks, Tesla has been rolling out access to their big spring software update. In my last video, we did a breakdown of the hidden features and changes that came with that new version, but recently, a few other features were discovered. One of the most genuinely useful but often forgotten about features of Tesla's vehicles are their built-in cabin HEPA filters. These are on all their cars except the Model 3. These filters work to efficiently remove pollution, odors, pollen, and more from the outside air before pumping it into the cabin. When the bioweapon defense mode is activated, the car becomes airtight with the HEPA filter and secondary filtration system being able to remove, quote, 99.7% of particles as small as 0.3 micrometers in diameter. Over time, however, these HEPA filters will start to lose their efficiency and need to be replaced. In the recent spring software update, Tesla released a feature to their built-in service mode to give you an insight into the state of your filter. In the HVAC section of service mode, your car will give you a percentage estimate of the overall health of the filter. The lower the percentage is, the closer your filter is to needing to be replaced. Currently, Tesla recommends changing your standard air filter every 2 years, and if you have a HEPA filter, to change that every 3 years. Still, between replacements, it's good to know just how well your filter is actually doing. If you live in a particularly polluted area, then your HEPA filter will probably need to be replaced more often. Replacing your filters can be easily done at Tesla service, but if you want, Tesla offers easy-to-follow instructions so you can do it at home. Tesla's HEPA filters are a really cool feature to have in a car, and this new update should do a lot to make sure that customers stay on top of replacing it when needed to get the maximum benefit. On top of that, Tesla has started releasing improvements to headlights, games, and more. In version 2024.20, Tesla is bringing adaptive headlight improvements to cars that have matrix LED headlights. Quote, headlights adapt for curves in the road ahead of you and also illuminate more when you're driving on a highway. These are some of the first times we've seen Tesla adding these features in the US. Fully adaptive headlights are more standard in other markets. As for climate, for the Model 3 and Y and new Model S and X, quote, when set to auto, the AC now cools down the cabin faster, and your vehicle better regulates the HV battery temperature for enhanced supercharger performance. So software is once again improving the HVAC system and supercharging. Then for the beach buggy game, Tesla has now added a supercharger leaderboard. When at a supercharger, compete in beach buggy racing to set the fastest time on the leaderboard against other players. As always, there is a mix of fun features and incredibly useful features coming in new software to all Tesla customers. It's always one of the best parts of owning a Tesla, seeing how the car improves over time. Next up today, Tesla is known for constantly tweaking the price and availability of certain options on their vehicles. A while ago, Tesla made a change to the color of their Gemini wheels over in Europe, introducing a new all-black look for that option. A few weeks ago, Tesla finally brought that option over to the United States, where they offered it as a $500 upgrade over the base silver color. They offered a pretty cool new look for this car that gave a sleek new choice to customers who wanted something a bit visually different and new for their car. Still, the silver option remained for anyone who preferred that or just didn't care enough to pay for an upgrade. My prediction here was that Tesla would only keep that for a small amount of time until supply of the silver wheels runs out, and then these dark wheels would become the base wheels. Now that has officially changed, and the silver option is gone for these wheels. They are only offering dark wheel covers, and they're no extra charge. So if you really wanted those stock silver wheels, those are gone now, but at least those dark wheels are not a $500 upgrade anymore. At the same time, that upgrade was only there for a very small amount of time, and this is part of what happens with Tesla's frequent price changes. This is definitely going to be a bit frustrating for someone who literally just spent $500 on these new wheels less than a couple weeks ago. Nonetheless, it's still a great look, and a lot of people will be very happy to see this new option become the standard. I'm personally very glad to see it just so it changes up what the stock wheels are, and because these stock wheels get the best range on the Model Y, so I always tell people to go for these wheels. It's the best range and ride quality. Next up today, some pretty big news for Tesla's production in Berlin that could hint at changes for the Model Y being in the works. A new report is saying that Tesla's Giga Berlin is going to implement a vehicle production pause for several days this month. This is being implemented to, quote, optimize processes in the factory and prepare it for future challenges. Most notably, this shutdown is going to directly affect the factory's vehicle and powertrain manufacturing stations, and it will occur on June 7th, 14th, 17th, 27th, and 28th. So far though, casting, plasma, and cell areas will not be affected by these shutdowns. Giga Berlin has seen a lot of challenges recently with protests, arson, and more. In fact, at the beginning of May, production was paused for 4 days, but that was planned, and Tesla still plans to expand this factory from here. They plan to double its production capacity to 1 million cars per year, and then if successful, this factory will likely produce whatever cheaper vehicle Tesla makes next, whether that be a smaller drivable car or a robotaxi. Still, they're in an interesting position and even had to store up large numbers of produced Model Ys that weren't yet sold. Quote, "The currently weak sales market for electric cars is also posing challenges for Tesla. This could lead to production shutdowns or job cuts, of which Tesla is currently planning to be done with a voluntary program if possible." Naturally here, the question is, are they simply optimizing this factory throughout June on 5 different days, or is part of this optimization coming in the form of the new Model Y? Giga Shanghai and Berlin are expected to refresh the Model Y before Tesla's US factories if they follow the same process that they did with the Model 3 refresh, and Giga Berlin is actually the factory where this car has leaked. Blurry photos of a camouflaged Model Y driving around Giga Berlin leaked online, showing that Tesla is likely doing initial testing here. Additionally, the center console for this car appears to have leaked, matching that of the Model 3. On another front, quote, "If Giga Berlin's cell lines will still be operating during the shutdown, after all, it would suggest that the factory has started battery production activities, at least to some degree. That's exciting for many since this further helps drive vertical integration to help Tesla bring down cost. This was actually a big part of Tesla's original plan for this factory, so we could finally see them making their own 4680 cells to put into specific Model Y trims in the future. In any case, right now, Tesla's Juniper Model Y is expected to be seen at least out of some factory by the end of 2024. From there, it could be delayed coming to the US, or they may refresh it across the board at all factories simultaneously. Ultimately, throughout June, we'll see what these factory shutdowns bring at Giga Berlin. Maybe they bring things we never really hear about for the Model Y out of Berlin, or maybe we see the refreshed Model Y come to pass soon after. This car is very much anticipated now that customers are taking delivery of the upgraded Model 3, so Tesla needs to pull this off in the absolute right way, considering how popular the Model Y is. Next up today, the big questions for EVs into the future always have to do with two things: range and charging speed. While we are looking to get cheaper EVs to market, many customers don't want to buy simply because they want more range or they want faster charging. Everyone has a different ownership experience, and for many customers, current range and charging speeds work just fine. In some cases, customers are carrying around far more battery capacity than they truly need, but when coming from a gas vehicle, it's a big adjustment. Some people also truly need more range, or would need to charge quicker than EVs currently support. That's why it's always exciting to hear of advances in this way. This week we have a new update from a Chinese battery company, and for the first time in a while, this one isn't coming from CATL. Goshen High-Tech, a rival to CATL, announced 2 batteries that can rapidly charge. One of them, called G-Current, can replenish to 80% in just 9.8 minutes, or 90% in 15 minutes according to ETN. The big thing here is that they say this is ready for immediate mass production. Their second fast charge cell is called Teslarati and can go from 10 to 70% in as little as 9 minutes. That gives it, with many estimates involved in this calculation, 217 miles of range in as little as 5 minutes. Theoretically as well, that means 372 miles in 10 minutes. Part of what brings costs down here is Goshen's Gen 7 facility, which they say brings 50% reduced manufacturing costs. At the same time as announcing these developments, they talked about their Gemstone battery, which uses solid state to bring increased energy density. That's very exciting, but solid state is one of those things we have heard about for a long time and are hoping will come sometime in the near future. We just can't truly get excited yet due to many broken promises on timelines. For that, they plan to roll it out commercially in 2030, so it is a ways off. All of these battery updates bring many safety features and battery management features, so the really interesting thing here will be to see how these perform in the real world with current charging infrastructure. A Tesla supercharger, for example, peaks at 250 kilowatt speeds, but that peak speed tapers very quickly, increasing charge time. If this new tech, which should already be ready for mass production, could simply increase the amount of time you charge at peak speeds, then it would be huge for the industry as a whole and Tesla. Tesla does not shy away from continuing to use suppliers and advance relationships with suppliers, so we could see this in Tesla vehicles in the future. Ultimately, it all comes down to scaling, so I really hope we can see this come to be and that Goshen actually brings this tech to fruition in a big way. It could make a huge difference for any hesitant on buying an EV. Next up today, for many customers, the modern car is far more than just a way to get around. Modern technology has revolutionized the auto industry, particularly the EV segment, in some major ways in recent years. One of the biggest innovations that we've seen is the increase in smartphone apps to control some of your car's key features. For some vehicles, like Tesla, you can use your smartphone to precondition your car, monitor external cameras, and even use it to replace a traditional key to enter and start your vehicle. Those features have been extremely useful for a lot of people, and JD Power has just released new data showing just how much customers have grown accustomed to these features. JD Power reports that approximately 90% of EV owners say they use the mobile apps associated with their cars, which is up from 88% in 2023 and 81% in 2022. What's even more interesting is the fact that 67% of EV owners use their car's app at least half of the time that they use their vehicles. Smartphone integration has proven it isn't just a useful feature to have, but that it has become a core part of the EV experience. For several years now, JD Power has been sampling user satisfaction with the apps associated with their respective electric vehicles. Out of all the major automakers, Tesla has taken the top spot overall and in the premium segment when it comes to EV mobile apps. On a scale of 1,000, Tesla has taken the top spot in customer satisfaction with a score of 847 points. They were followed up by Mercedes Connect in the premium category and my Hyundai in the mass market category. Among Tesla owners, 62% have said that the availability of the smartphone app had at least a moderate impact on their choice of vehicle. That percentage is up from 59% in 2023, showing how smartphone connectivity is an increasingly large selling point for customers. For non-Tesla owners, only 34% of owners said that phone apps had a moderate impact on their vehicle choice. Tesla's software-based approach is often considered the best in the industry, and this gap in the importance of smartphone connectivity just goes to show how much Tesla is leading in this field. Still, that doesn't mean that Tesla's app is without problems. Overall, Tesla is still beating the competition, with around 35% of Tesla owners having experienced connectivity problems with their app, compared to 40% of non-Tesla owners. That's a good sign, but it has been growing a bit over the years. As I mentioned, 35% of Tesla owners have experienced connectivity problems with their car's app, compared to 30% in 2023 and 20% in 2022. A lot of people hypothesize that this is due to the increase of the number of Tesla drivers, putting a strain on the app's network capacity. The number of Tesla owners out there is only going to increase from here on out, so the company definitely needs to work on expanding the network in order to stay ahead of growth, if that is the case. Beyond just the smartphone app, Tesla's vehicles are well known for leading the industry in customer satisfaction. Over in China, the Model 3 had the lowest complaint rate among all of the best-selling sedans in Q1. That car had a complaint rate of only 5% of the average vehicle in that segment, which is a hugely compelling lead. Giga Shanghai is well known for being one of Tesla's most productive factories and also making some of the highest quality vehicles. The recent refresh of the Model 3 was a huge improvement across the board, and once we see similar improvements come to the Model Y, then Tesla's best-selling vehicles should see even higher levels of customer satisfaction. Last up today, some updates from other automakers. The race towards bringing an affordable EV to market is really heating up now, with automakers from around the world recognizing that that market is the key to truly dominating the marketplace. Ford's relationship with electric vehicles has had its highs and lows so far, but the automaker has recently reaffirmed its long-term commitment to electrification. Chinese automakers like BYD have been making headlines recently as they take the EV market by storm by offering extremely affordable electric options. Western automakers have been put on the defensive by these companies, and Ford seems to understand just how important making an affordable EV will be. The American automaker has teased the work being done on their upcoming affordable EV platform, and they are reportedly delaying larger options to focus on this small car. In an interview with Yahoo Finance, Ford CEO Jim Farley gave some insight into their EV plans, as they hope to replicate some of BYD's success here in the US. Ford has been working with companies like CATL to reduce battery manufacturing costs as a means towards making their EVs profitable. Farley believes that their next generation of EVs will, quote, not only be profitable, but also affordable for most Americans. Car manufacturers are starting to realize that the future of widespread EV adoption and competition with China involves truly affordable EV options. I'm very excited to see what Ford is able to make here, as well as what other cars begin to arrive from companies across the globe. Hyundai has just announced that their new Georgia factory will begin production of their first American-made Ioniq 5 vehicles later this year. The big thing here is that the vehicles coming out of that factory are expected to be fully eligible for the $7,500 EV tax credit, which is otherwise unavailable to any of the Korean-made models. While the Georgia factory is going to begin production of this vehicle in October, it's not slated to begin its own internal battery production until sometime next year. Until then, the factory will be sourcing their batteries from a partner company in Hungary. Hyundai is aiming for these vehicles to be be fully eligible for the tax credit, but I'm curious to see if those foreign-made batteries will impact their eligibility going forward. The other big question regarding this vehicle is what charge port we can expect to see installed on it. Current Ioniq 5 vehicles have a CCS port, but the company had previously announced that all of their new or refreshed vehicles would start receiving NACS ports going forward. CCS-equipped Ioniq vehicles are slated to gain access to the supercharger network in Q4 of this year, so any of their newly manufactured vehicles will still have access to these chargers regardless. Speculation seems to suggest that these cars are more likely to keep their CCS connection for now rather than jumping to NACS right away, which will definitely disappoint some. Plugging in with an adapter won't be a huge inconvenience, but it is still not as nice as being able to charge without any extra equipment. Still, gaining access to the EV tax credit is going to be a huge perk for any prospective Ioniq customers, and should do a lot to make this car more attractive, and also even more of a competitor to the Model Y. Speaking of affordable EVs though, Stellantis has just announced that another one of their brands will be bringing a model to market soon. Their CEO said recently that Jeep is planning on launching a $25,000 electric model in the US in the near future. They didn't give a clear timeline as to when it might be, only that it is coming very soon. Currently, Jeep is working on offering 2 electric options worldwide. Over in Europe, they have the Jeep Avenger SUV, which starts at the equivalent of $37,800, and they should be launching their Wagoneer S in the US sometime this year. That car is expected to have a premium price, however, so this other currently unnamed upcoming vehicle will be their first truly affordable option. We don't have much information or detail on their upcoming vehicle, but it's exciting nonetheless to see another legacy brand committing to making an affordable option. Any company that is able to offer a competitive EV option at a low price is going to make huge waves in the industry. Right now, it's a race to the market, and the question remains as to what automaker will be able to win out in the affordable EV market. For a while, we thought Tesla was going to be way ahead in this particular segment, but they're shifting somewhat to a robotaxi instead, so we'll see what the future holds there. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the latest for the new Model Y spotted at Giga Berlin, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.